We've got the top players to target in your last-minute fantasy basketball drafts coming up next on Beat the Odds Card Breaks. Don't go anywhere. Hello, sport fans. Welcome back to another episode of Beat the Odds Card Breaks. We are going to dive into a little bit of fantasy basketball. With 2 days left before the season starts, this is a good time for all those who are doing their last-minute drafts to take a peek to see who you might want to target in the mid-rounds. My theory is in the first 5 rounds or so, everybody's kind of looking for the best available player. So if you were to take a look at everybody's team after 5 rounds, they're pretty close. They're pretty similar in drafting. There's not normally a whole lot of reaches that happen within that point in time. However, after that point, then it gets more interesting. So I'm kind of trying to look at players for you to target, say, around the 50 average draft position on Yahoo or later. Now, there is one exception. We're going to start with it here. My first person that you should really look to target is De'Aaron Fox. His ADP is 46. And the reason why I really like Fox this year is Domantas Sabonis. The two of them have had some very good success. Relative small sample size. We're looking at about 12, 13 games last year. And in those 13 games, he averaged 27.8 points, 4.2 rebounds, and 6.2 assists. Those are borderline elite numbers for someone that you can find in the 4th round. If he's sitting out there in the 4th round, I would not hesitate to pick him up here. I think he's going to return potential top 25 numbers over the course of the year. Up next, I have San Antonio Spur. I've actually got 2. We'll do the first one here, Devin Vassell. Now, with the Spurs, that is a team that is in full rebuild. DeJounte Murray is no longer on the team, so there's a lot more offense, a lot more shots to be distributed around a relatively unproven offensive team, which means there's a couple of guys that are on my list, Vassell being the first one, that will benefit from seeing an expanded role in that offense. With Vassell, I took the per 36-minute stats here that we've seen in the preseason, and if he gets anywhere near those numbers, his per 36 look like 25 points on 44% shooting, 92% from the free throw line, 5 rebounds, 3 assists, and a steal per game, which would be, again, very, very good numbers. Certainly top 100, possibly top 50 numbers that you can get from a Devin Vassell, who was relatively unknown last year, at least from the offensive standpoint. The next one for you to consider is Colin Sexton. Another benefit from a underperforming team, a likely to underperform team here this year in the Utah Jazz. Since he's traded away from the Cavaliers, I expect high usage out of Sexton. Now, there isn't a guarantee that he's going to be starting on this team. I guess we'll see once the season starts to play out. But you're looking at a guy who will be likely soaking up 30 minutes at least per night. And I've got his per 36 sitting at 19 points at 44% shooting, 67% from 3, 60% from the line. 2 rebounds, 2 assists. I think that's actually on the low end of what to expect. I would put him more closer to 21, 22 points per game. He was, before his injury, he was, I believe, a 24 point per gamer with Cleveland. This, of course, before the resurgence of Darius Garland. But 21, 22 points on the Utah team, that'll be a pretty safe bet every night from Colin Sexton. So I would reach for him. His ADP right now is at 85. I would reach for him in the 7th round there for sure. Next one up on the list here is Jamal Murray. He's one that more teams are actually kind of zeroing in on him in the middle rounds there as well. He's got potential top 5 round talent. Of course, he's been out for the majority of the year last year, so that lack of playing time is going to translate to probably a little bit of rest to get the season started. But he's a bona fide assist magnet here, so he's going to do really well for your team if you're looking for assists. His per 36 in the preseason looked like 15 points on 36% shooting, 66 from 3, 66 from the line, 4 rebounds, 9 assists. And that's those assists that's really going to dictate his value here for the start of the season. He also plays a couple positions. I believe they got him in as a shooting guard in Yahoo Fantasy, so that's certainly something to keep in mind if you need to fill that position. Next on the list, we have Ben Simmons, another one here that there's a big question mark over him, but I think that has definitely diminished his ADP, and there's somebody that I am targeting in the 7th round. His ADP is currently sitting at 77. His per 36 looks like 8 points per game on 57% shooting, 17% from the line. Take that as you will. I think it was 1 for 6 in his limited sample size here. 11 rebounds, 9 assists, 2 steals. That's where you get the value from a Ben Simmons. He's going to be pretty much like a Draymond Green style player. He's going to be playing likely the power forward position there for Brooklyn. So you can expect to see that type of prototype out of him. Just, of course, less threes and much more of an interior scoring game. But I don't really see him posting more than 12 points per game this year. So if you're looking to get points out of him, I don't think you're looking in the right spot. He's definitely going to be helping you out in the other categories without hopefully hurting you too much there on the free throws. Next on the list, and this I wouldn't really say is much of a sleeper. I think the word is out right now on Alperen Sengun. Now that Christian Wood is out of town for Houston, it's Sengun's game in the middle, and he is an interesting target here in the middle rounds. ADP's got him at 68. His per 36 in the preseason looked like 15 points on 50% shooting, 100% from 3, although small sample size again, 71% from the line. But here's where he really shines here. 7 rebounds, 5 assists, so he's a passing big. And I'm a big fan of passing bigs for fantasy because you're always looking to try to be strong in many categories. And if you found that you've drafted more shooters instead of playmakers with your guards, you can kind of make up for some of those assists by picking up a player like Sengun. And I think these are relatively floor estimates. I would guess he would be more of an 18-8 guy than a 15-7 guy. And then he might chip in those 5 assists there for you as well. He's a really good pickup to target in those middle rounds as well. As mentioned at the top, I have a second spur here for you guys, and this should come as no surprise. Keldon Johnson, he's looking to be the focal point for the offense this year in San Antonio. Going right now in an ADP at 72. If you can wait 7 rounds to get a Keldon Johnson, who's going to be your likely number 1 option on a team, I think you've done quite well. His per 36 this preseason looked like 27 points on 53% shooting, 75% from the line, 40% from 3. 6 rebounds, 3 assists, 1.5 steals, 1.5 turnovers per game. So that spells, again, top 25 potential output here for a player that you can get in potentially the 6th or 7th round. That's a definite steal for me. I try to get as many shares of Keldon Johnson as I could here this year. I think he's going to be a beast. Next up, we got Michael Porter Jr. He's going at 62 ADP, which is kind of where I would think he should be valued here. I'm a little less in on MPJ as some people. I do like the potential there as a scoring wing that he could be. His per 36 is 25 points on 46% shooting, 83% from the line, 50% from 3. So his percentages are really strong. 8 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals. He could do really well. I don't know. I don't really know how I feel about him at this point. He's been touted as a fringe all-star for pretty much his career. His injuries has been holding him back. So I'm kind of waiting to see how he does within the first month to really go all in on that pick. But his ADP at 62, I think it's a pretty good pick if you see him on the board there, still in the 6th round. He's somebody that I would go for there as well. One person a little later in the draft that you might be able to find would be Lauri Markkanen. He's going right now at ADP 103. Definitely somebody that I've been targeting here. You can get him possibly in the 8th or 9th round. That would be an absolute steal. He's also going to be taking a lot of the offensive load in Utah, similar to Colin Sexton. And in the preseason, his per 36 looks like 22 points on 44% shooting, 24% from 3, 85 from the line, 8 rebounds, and not much else. But those 20 and 10 is definitely within reach for marketing this year. And if he does that, that's going to be a luxury for all those who are drafting him in the 8th, 9th round. That would be a steal. The last one here that I have on my list to target is Tyler Hero. He is going at ADP 74 in the Yahoo drafts. We're looking at, he had actually a phenomenal per 36 here for the preseason at 31 points on 52% shooting, 58% from 3, and 100% from the line. His issue, of course, has always been his defense. He's done a little bit better in the preseason at a tune of 1.5 steals and 3 blocks per 36 minutes. Now, I think a lot of that had to do with his, I can't remember if it was a 3-block or 4-block game that he had earlier in the preseason. So take those numbers as you will. He's not going to average 3 blocks in the season. He might give you a half a block, and a half a block would be great from him. But he has pledged to be better defensively. We'll see how that pans out. I'm hoping that it pans out to see some more rebounds and steals and blocks coming from him here this year. But if he can do that and hold his own on the offensive side, he could be looking at a potential 3rd, 4th round output at ADP 74. He's definitely somebody that I would be looking for in the draft. So those are the top 10 targets. I've got three people to stay away from, 3 people that I'm fading. The first one on this list is James Harden. Now, this is a relatively easy pick for me to stay away from, simply because he's going in the 1st round, and I do not feel comfortable picking up a James Harden in the 1st round and expecting to get 1st round production from him, especially at the end of the year when you're looking at head-to-head leagues and you want to try to be in the playoffs. I have a distinct feeling he may not even be the 2nd option on that team when that happens, with the emergence, of course, of Tyrese Maxey. I have a feeling that there's going to be more shots going to him at the expense of James Harden. That may improve his assist total. I really do think he's an elite playmaker, so he won't suffer there. But for me to bank on him getting 24, 25 points a game, that I just don't feel is a healthy bet for this year. So I'm staying away from James Harden. Definitely not worth a 1st round pick. If he's around in round 2, then I'll consider him, but round 1, I'm going to pass. With the similar situation here with my next person to stay away from, Klay Thompson. He's going pick 62, coming off a major injury that he's missed basically 2 years. Made a triumphant return last year, but now with the emergence of Jordan Poole, I don't think we're going to see a whole lot of minutes for Klay. Certainly not what we've been used to pre-injury for him. He may dip under 30 minutes a game, where Jordan Poole might actually get above 30 minutes a game. And if that's the case, then I would much rather spend that pick on a guy like Poole than I would on Klay. Klay is going to give you elite 3 numbers. He's going to give you pretty good shooting percentages, really good from the free throw line. Doesn't really offer a whole lot else outside of that. Where Poole, I think, would be a little bit more geared towards steals and assists. But I really think that Klay is going to lose a lot of that a lot of that minutes and stuff over the course of the year, definitely towards the end, in favor of Jordan Poole. So if you had a choice between either the 2 of them there, I would certainly pick Poole over Klay Thompson at that point. I think they're roughly around the same. Actually, I believe Poole's going maybe a round later. I would save and wait for him. The next person to stay away from, and this is a pretty easy one for me there as well. No surprises here. Russell Westbrook. If you can get him late in the draft, then maybe take a flyer on him, because obviously he still has talent. He's going to command minutes. He's going to be a potential triple-double every night here. But what we're seeing from him, I don't think he's going to be a Laker much longer. He had a hamstring issue in the last game. He could be the sixth man. I mean, we don't know what's going on with Russell Westbrook. So even in the 8th, 9th round, maybe I take the flyer on him and hope that he either figures out how to be a Laker or finds a spot where he's going to get enough of the ball there to help us out here with the counting stats. But keep in mind that you're going to be taking a major hit on your percentages if you're looking to pick up Westbrook. He's going to drain your free throws, he's going to drain your three-pointers, he's going to drain your shooting percentage. So be prepared for that if you're thinking of taking a ride. The last segment here, we've got waiver wire finds, and these are players that are roughly available in about 50% of Yahoo leagues that I would suggest targeting for this year for a few different reasons. I'll give you 4 of those. The first one is Sandy Aldama for the Grizzlies. He's currently available in 27% of leagues. Is looking like he's locked into the 4 spots on that team, for the starting 4 on that team here, which bodes well for his usage and minutes. He's not going to be a top 2 or potentially 3 option there, but I think he's still got enough to chip in to help your team out there in points and rebounds and potentially block shots and certainly threes. His per 36, a lot of it based on kind of one big game here, but he checked in at 18 points. He checked in at 18 points on 57% shooting, 40% from 3, 82% from the line, 10 rebounds, 2 assists, half a steal, and 1.5 blocks per game. That certainly will work in any format. So if he's going to be able to get anything close to that, and he's not going to get 36 minutes a game, so probably reduce that, take 20% off of those numbers and stuff here, and that would be a much better representation to what to expect as a ceiling for Aldama this year. But if he gets that, I think it's definitely worth a flyer there on the waiver wire. Next one up is Ayo Dosunmu for the Bulls. Newly minted starting point guard for Chicago. Again, not going to get a whole lot of touches while he's out there, especially with Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan running the show there. But he's going to give you solid numbers on good percentages, which is kind of what you're looking for a plug-in guard. His per 36 in the preseason looked like 14 points, 4 rebounds, 4 assists, 1 block, half a steal. Those are pretty good indicators, maybe not the blocks so much, but those are pretty good indicators of what to expect from him this year, which is still, that would still work. I would say more like 15, 5, and 5 would be maybe the ceiling for what I would expect from Ayo this year. Next one of my personal favorites. I'm a big fan of Poku, and he's finally going to get a shot here. A little bit of bad luck that forced him into this position, but for all those Poku lovers out there, they don't mind watching him get some extra playing time this year. OKC, Alexei Pokusevsky, we are looking at a unicorn-type player who's a 7-footer, who can pass, shoot a 3, play a little bit of defense, super wiry. I mean, he's bulked up. I think he's finally over 200 pounds. I think he's at 215 right now. So he's finally put a little bit of bulk into that frame, but he is so super wiry. 15 points is what he averaged here per 36 in the preseason on 48% shooting, 80% from the line. 8 rebounds, 6 assists, half a steal, 1.5 blocks. That, again, will work. Do I see that happening for him? Well, he's certainly not going to get 36 minutes, but definitely a low-teen scorer with a potential to get 10 rebounds and 5 assists per night. I think if they use him in the way I think he's going to be used this year, that could be a good projection. He and Alperen Sengun, I believe, will have very similar seasons, provided Alexei Pokusevsky can stay in the starting lineup for the entire year. And the last one that I've got here for you guys is Terry Easton. Now, he's actually, I'm cheating a little bit on this one here. He was available in, he's owned in 53% of leagues. So he's a little above that 50% mark here, but if he's on the waiver wire, I think he stands a really good shot at helping your team out, especially in the short term. 27 points on 64% shooting, 46% from 3, 83% from the line. That's his per 36 numbers in the preseason. So I mean, again, he's not going to be getting 36 minutes per game here on Houston. Project him probably 30 at the highest, so maybe trim those again by about 20% or so. But 14 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 steals, half a block. That, again, will certainly work for any team. It looks like he's going to be carving himself out some playing time here at the start of the season. I'm very excited to see how he can use that here to benefit his investors in these fantasy leagues. And that about does it here for the recap. I hope you guys took away something here of note. If you guys think there's anybody that I missed, please leave that in the comments. I'll be happy to hear your takes on who you're focusing in on the draft and who you think will have big seasons and stuff here this year. But that's going to do it for this, guys. Thank you again for watching. We're going to sign off for now, but we are going to catch you guys on our next episode.